welcome back to my channel. This is literally my second YouTube video, so it's just following up on my first YouTube video, which was my apartment tour. And I mentioned at the end of the video that I was gonna share my moving testimony because it is obviously just so many unbelievable things God has done in this whole process. So if you don't know me, my name is Carla, and I just moved right after college. I graduated this May and found a job from, I lived in Arkansas, grew up in Arkansas, but I moved to Texas and I'm on my own for the first time. And I just wanted to share my whole process, the amazing things God has done in this whole process. So let's get started. So I just want to start off that this process has been since 4 years ago, since I started college. So I went into college with the mindset of doing a major that was just for money. Obviously miserable, not happy, didn't do good on my first test, which was computer science programming. And so I was like, nope, this is not for me. I was in a moment of frustration for a while because I was like, I have no idea what I want to do. I was like, God, tell me what to do and I'll do it. And so I remember I went to this youth camp that year, and I know God used the woman that was preaching. When we were all praying, she came up to my ear, and I knew it was God talking to her, because when God talks to you and speaks to you, only you know what it pertains to, only you know what is it about, right? And so for me, when that woman came to me, I heard God saying, I'm with you. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, started crying because I'm such a crybaby, especially when it comes to God touching my heart. And when I heard those words, what I got is like, it does not matter what you choose to study. I am with you through it all. And I was just like, but I want you to choose. But that's the thing, the beautiful thing about life is like God gives us whatever we want to do, you know, and he gives us the option to choose whatever we want to do. And that's the part of enjoying life. Imagine if he did tell us to do everything we had to do, you know, there wouldn't be any free will in that. And so I remember just talking to my mom, and ever since I was like in the 8th grade, I've always been into like food and health. I have no idea what sparked in me, but I think it's like seeing all the health problems that run in my family, and I just love food and cooking, and I love teaching. So I've always wanted to do something in between, and I just chose nutrition, and I absolutely loved it, and I love it still. It helps me to, you know, keep myself in check, and also to teach others. And so I decided to do nutrition, and honestly, nutrition major is not easy. So much science. It is fun, it's just a lot of science, and if you're not good in science, then honestly I had no idea how I did it. But again, I do, it's God. But there were times where I had cried and been so frustrated in classes, and I see God help me do the impossible. For example, organic chemistry, oh my gosh, that class still gives me nightmares. I took it in the summer, and everyone was doing so bad in that class. Even I was failing every test, but I was like, you need to have like a C at least to pass. And that teacher, she had mercy on us, because we literally had to do like a certain percentage on the final to get at least a B, and I had to make a 23. So she like really rounded that up so much, and I'm honestly grateful for that. And this last semester too, I've asked God for like, God, let me at least get a C in this class, or let me at least get this GPA. And I've seen God, for example, my microbiology class, I was doing so bad, but I met this other girl who's been in my nutrition classes, and she's in there too, and she's helped me a lot. And so literally just to get a B was like a 75.5, and I got a 75.6, and I thought I still had a C, and he was like, you know, you have a B. I was like, oh my gosh. And like my GPA, it was just a little bit more than my goal was. And so going back on that, this semester has been such a blessing. I actually plan to go to Taiwan this summer, and I had bought my ticket early January, and I was just like, I'm going to Taiwan, I deserve this trip, I have a friend there, I'm going to stay there for a while, I'm even going to quit my part-time job just to be there the longest. And I remember like last year we got our stimulus checks, and I didn't get one because I was still under my parents. And so when that happened, I was a little bit sad because I would have used that money for it. I had no idea how I was going to pay for Taiwan. I was like, oh, I'm just going to pay for my part-time, and me just being ignorant about it. And then it wasn't until this year when taxes came, I actually got all those 3 stimulus checks because the accountant that we have, he figured it out how I was able to get it. And I remember mom saying, like, if you were able to get that money, I'm okay with you going to Taiwan. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to save it for Taiwan and all that stuff. And then, you know, Corona has been getting worse. I was looking at the news the whole time. And so I was like, Corona was getting worse over there. It actually came to the point where there was like a travel ban. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I am not gonna go. And I've just been so frustrated and just worried and obsessed with just checking the news. Like, I am going. And so when it came to the reality, like a reality check, like, you aren't going, like, you can't go even if you wanted to. I was like, I was so sad. But then I was like, it's either that or find a job, honestly, after I graduate. And so when I realized I wasn't going to go to Taiwan, I was like, I am going to look for a job. And I remember it was 2:30 in the morning, and I was just applying for jobs that I could work with a bachelor's degree. And it was like late, and then the next day I was at work and it was like lunchtime, and I got a call from one of the places, and they're like, oh, we got your application and we're just wanting to see if you're interested in an interview. I was like, what? I was like overwhelmed, because I was like, it's so hard to find a job after you graduate with a bachelor's degree, because it's like the new associate's degree. And I'm just like, that's crazy. There are people go months without getting a job. And so I got, you know, I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, it was in Texas. I have no idea why I've been attracted to Texas, because obviously I was born in New York, but I can't live there because I couldn't afford it by myself. And my brother lives up there, but he's about to get married. I'm not gonna, you know, be there with him. And so I was like, okay, I found the job, like, and they actually liked me, called me 3 days later, and they were like, we're interested in you. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so crazy. So I had to prepare everything to get, like, to move. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like, I was so worried, because it was like 1 week after I graduated, so it was like the middle of May, and they have orientation the 1st and the 16th of every month. And I was just like, okay, I can't go the 1st, obviously it's like 2 weeks away, and then the 16th is still kind of too soon because I still have to find a place, an apartment, and all this stuff. And then she was like, well, you know what, the girl that actually was working before you, she actually is leaving by the end of June, so you could start July 1st. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's a whole month and a half. That's like perfect for me. And it's crazy how that, you know, lined up. So sorry, I have my notes here because it's just a lot. And so I was in this process of, you know, apartment hunting, and that was a little frustrating because, you know, I was working the whole time as well, just trying to save up some extra money. I told them my last day. And so apartment hunting, I actually applied for a couple places, but I've never got anything back. And then there was this one place that called me, and they're like, oh, we're interested, we can hold this place for you, but it was way out of my budget, not including utilities. And I was like, oh man, I can't. Me and my mom were talking, we're like, you may have to go over there and look for an apartment, you may have to ask for days off, like, at work. And I was like, oh, that's like I'm not getting any money that I need to be saving. And I was just starting to get a little frustrated. And it wasn't until right when I was talking to my mom about this, I got a notification saying, you've been approved for this apartment. And I was just like, Mom, I don't have to go, because I was approved for it. And it came with utilities included. And I was just like, oh my gosh, and it's within my budget. And it was like so perfect. And it was newly renovated, no appliances. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. I don't have to go. I already, you know, my deposit was half of the rent. So it was just crazy how that happened. So, and for the apartment approval, they asked for like pay stub and your job. And I was like, I haven't started my job yet, so how am I going to give you that? And so I wrote a letter to this apartment, or I think it was another apartment. This one was like, hey, I'm not getting paid yet, but I promise I'm getting a job here. And so they approved it. And so I was just like, okay, so how am I going to pay for the rest of the month's rent? And especially since I'm moving by the end of June to be there for my first day. And so I need a U-Haul. I needed to figure out that and everything with moving and buying things to move. And so I was a little like worried, like, how am I gonna have that money? But then I remembered that the money that I saved up from the stimulus checks to go to Taiwan wasn't gonna go to Taiwan anymore. So I had that money saved actually for all my moving expenses. And I was just like, this is crazy. Because obviously I wasn't gonna go to Taiwan, but I had this opportunity and everything to move. And so I was like, God already knew I was gonna move and he knew I needed money. So he like already planned that money to be saved, knowing that Taiwan wasn't his will, but this was his will. So I mean, I'm still in the process. One thing that I have trouble with, and I know a lot do, is doubt. And I was like, am I really moving? And I was just like, I mean, I'm not mature enough yet and all that. But I remember, you know, working and saving up, and when it was time to move, we went to go get the U-Haul. And this is the most thing that's really shocked me, is that when we went to get the U-Haul, the man said that that U-Haul just came in and we were the one that rented it the next day. And I was like, oh really? And he was like, the crazy part, he's like, I don't know, you guys are lucky, because we needed a dolly because, you know, there's not enough people to fit in the U-Haul, so my dad needed to take his car. And so when we asked for the dolly, he was like, actually that dolly wasn't registered with the U-Haul. And we're like, really? And then he was like, yeah, actually someone came down from Michigan, I think it was Michigan or Georgia, to bring this U-Haul with it, like not even registered, it still isn't registered, but they just brought it for that U-Haul. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah. And I was like, I think this was meant for you. And I was like, that is crazy, just a random person to bring a U-Haul not registered with it. And I was like, wow, like really was meant for me. And that was just another confirmation. Even when I told my mom, we just started crying because we see God, like he's not even letting me stress about these things about moving. And and it's just been all smooth. And so on my first day of my job, I actually moved here. It was pretty far, but everything's just been smooth. My parents have been so helpful, and I'm so blessed for them. And so when I came here, my first day of my job, I was doing my training, orientation, and one of the trainers was telling me, like, you know, you're a nutritionist, but there's also like an internship here. And so with a nutrition major, if you're trying to become a registered dietitian, you have to go through an internship and then, you know, take the test to get your license. And my whole concept was like, I'm going to work here for a couple of years because I had no nutrition experience. I'm going to work here to get some nutrition experience and probably move somewhere else to do my internship and take out a loan for my internship. And I can't work, so take out more money just to survive on my own, because there is just no opportunity in Arkansas. And so, and that's why I got a job here, because there is no opportunity for Arkansas for internship or job. And so I came, and so when she told me that there's actually internship, I was like, oh really? That's crazy, I didn't know. So I went home that day and I looked it up, and I tell you, literally I had no idea this internship was here, but God did. And when he told me that he was with me 4 years ago, he really has kept that promise, and he still has, and he still is. Because when I looked up the internship for Texas WIC nutritionist, I looked up and I saw that the internship's only 8 months, and usually they're like a year to a year and a half. So it's only 8 months, and it's only for nutritionists, and it's paid for. Plus, if you're working with the agency, which I am, you still get your salary, like if you were working, but you're not working. And so when I found that all out, I just started crying again, because I'm like, that is crazy. I'm about to cry again because it's crazy, because I was already, you know, stressing about how I'm going to have to move. I'm going to have to take out a loan. I'm going to have to survive on my own and find a place for an internship. And to see this opportunity open up, like without even me knowing that I am here, a Texas nutritionist, and I have the opportunity to get into this internship, everything paid for, plus I'm getting paid. It's like, wow, God really knows what he's doing. And when you place him first and you trust him and his promise, he will fulfill actually double what you expected. And so that is one of the other things I'm just like, that's crazy. Like, I am so in awe. I still am in awe. And so I think this was my one thing too, is when I needed my Texas driver's license, and the first time I went, I didn't have 2 forms of, you know, residency, because I just moved here and I needed it for my job. So I tried to get as much as residency, like, you know, paying a, like, not paying a bill, but like getting a receipt for something. And I was just in the process of waiting for a statement, but obviously it's taking a while. And I remember I just tried to take as much as information that had my name and address to the place. And I went to this other town, which was like 40 minutes away. And I was like, please, God, let me get this license. And so what I had only had one form of residency, the others didn't count. And I was just like, okay, let me call my manager. That's what the lady said. And she called it and say if we can take this. It was just a letter for my electricity bill because I didn't have a statement yet. And it was to see that I lived here. And she was like, well, you usually do statements. I'm like, that's all I have, and I really need this driver license. So she called her manager, and the manager told her, okay, so I usually don't do this, but I'm in a good mood, so go ahead and give it to her. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you, God. It's just so crazy how everything has been falling into place. I do have, my challenges and trials here. I'm learning more about myself. I'm learning more how to adult. But it was crazy because one thing that really just confirmed it all is that I always relied on my mom's dreams because they have saved me and protected me from so many things. Like, there were things that only I knew, but when God gave her this dream, I call her la profeta, because when God gave her this dream, she would know things that I wouldn't have been told her. And so I know God has worked in my life through that way, and he still does. And so I remember one time she told me this dream that she was just worried. She was stressed because, her only daughter is leaving and it's happening real quick. And she's like, God, let me know this is your will. And so she one time after church, we were, fasting for this, and because it's always good to pray and fast before you do anything. And so we have been fasting for a while. And one time my mom went out of service. She went to go get bread at this panaderia, and the man there was like, are you okay? And she's like, no, I'm just sad because, my daughter found a job and she's going to leave. And he was like, you have raised your children right. And like, and she's doing something good for, her career, what she studied, and there's nothing for you to worry if God has protected you and your family to this day. He's going to continue to protect her. And that gave my mom animo because like motivation, because this man doesn't know Christ. And so, like they say, the rocks talk. And so he was, God used this man to motivate my mom. And my mom is still not enough for her, but God gave her a dream about, it was me and her, and I was a little girl. And there was this beautiful tree just standing right in front of her. And she saw 3 flowers or fruits grow on that tree. And she just saw it was so beautiful. And in her dream, she was like, wow, I worked so hard and so long just to have these fruit ripe, or I think it was fruit or flowers. Oh no, it was flowers, just to be perfect in full bloom. And that tree represented me, because obviously there were so many times where I have said things or done things, and my mom was like, you need to get mature in that aspect. Tienes que madurar en ese aspecto. She's like, because I won't be okay you leaving by yourself and you're not mature in this area. And then that always bothered me. But when your parents tells you need to be mature in that area, or you need to work on that, better work on it. And so this whole process, I have been trying to do better, because there are times where, I have my things too, and really God has been working on me, and I'm not completely perfect, but I'm at the point where I am founded. I'm rooted in Christ, and that's what I want to keep being rooted, because I do not want to be like those people that leave, after they're not under parent supervision, or that forget about Christ because no one's watching them, but he's watching me. And so how can I leave God when all these things have fallen into place? Like, God has never left me. And something that I always tell people is that when you want to know what God's will is in your life, it will go smoothly. So my trip to Taiwan, it was full of frustration and nervousness, because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to go. I was stressed out about it. But this whole process, I have not stressed out at all when it came to moving. And I know moving is a stressful process, but everything has fitted, aligned, and I have felt nothing but peace. And people sometimes ignore that uneasiness when something's not God's will. And then you're like, oh, I think it is God's will, but inside, you feel it. It's like always bugging you. But this whole process has been nothing but peace. People ask me, how can you do this? Aren't you scared? And I was like, I am scared. I'm not scared. I am a little nervous, but I'm not scared, because I know this is all God's will in my life. And really his promises still stand. And so God has touched. When my mom was here, before they left, they actually read this Bible verse to me. My mom it just went in her head, this Bible verse, and I know pretty much all you guys know it, but it really related to me. So I want to share that with you, and you probably know it, but I'm just going to share it with you. So it's in Joshua 1:1 to 9, sorry. So it says, after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spoke to Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' assistant, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, you and all this people, to the land which I am giving to them, the children of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot will tread upon I have given you, as I said to Moses. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and the great sea toward the going down of the sun shall be your territory. No man shall be able to stand before you all the days of your life, as I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not leave you nor forsake you. Be strong and of good courage, for to this people you shall divide as an inheritance the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate in it day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Have I not commanded you, be strong and of good courage? Do not be afraid, do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And when she read that, honestly, I started crying again, because I'm such a crybaby, like I said. And it just really spoke to me, because God has given me this land. He has opened this land for me to inherit and to grow here. And so this promise that he gave to Joshua, that I will be with you, do not depart the law. And it's like God telling me, don't forget your roots. Don't forget where I have, taught you, where I've, raised you in. And whatever you do, remembering me, you will be prosperous. You will succeed. And because of that, it's not been easy at all, but I have tried my best, and I've seen God help me succeed. And he's continually helping me succeed, and my steps be prosperous and blessing me more than I deserve. And so I ask for your prayers, because there are challenges and blessings when it comes to living alone. And I'm learning more things about myself. I'm learning more about God, because it's literally just me and him here. And so it has been nothing but a blessing, and I want to continue to have a prosperous walk in life and success, and continue to keep his commandments. And so I hope this encourages you in the faith. I didn't want it to be that long, but I hope it encourages you in the faith to continue to put God first, continue to wait on him. Because I remember back then I would be like, I can't wait to move, I can't wait to leave this house, I can't wait to do this. And my life has not been terrible. It's just the selfishness, the greediness, the rush, the impatience to do something with my life. And so God knows when he's going to do it. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe there's still something you need to learn and work on. And so work on it, humble yourself, be like, okay, I can't be this stubborn anymore. And that's how I was, because I was really stubborn. And so now I'm learning more about God in this process, and God will bless you more than you deserve. God knows the desires of your heart. He knows what you want to do in life, where you want to go, and he knows it, and he will fulfill it as long as you remember his law, his commandments. He will make your way prosperous. So again, I hope this encourages you, and I hope this builds your faith. I do want to share the pros and cons of living by yourself as a Christian, the battles that I have faced so far, and it's so real, the good and the bad, but the good always wins. So God bless you, and I hope you continue to watch my videos. So God bless you, and have a great day.